What is life? In biology classrooms worldwide, we are taught a simple answer. Life is cells. This is a classical cellular model for undergraduates in science careers and the scientists of the future. And it represents what the fascination of complexity in science. But what do we overlook, what we learn about this marvelous and intricate structure? The cellular-based view of life that began to be articulated in the 17th century has profoundly shaped our relationship with nature, leading us to marginalize the environment and the interconnectedness, portraying an individualistic and isolated view of life. But the cell, as a self-contained unit, actually represents an impossibility of life. So what if we go beyond the cultural context in which the science of biology and the cell model were developed? As this artwork shows, for indigenous cultures around the world, the air, the rivers, and the territories are living entities that nurture and sustain a community of humans, non-humans, and more than humans. As part of our breakthrough solution, this dissertation aims to introduce the microbiome as the fundamental unity of life, through a written case study, highlighting the community-based feature of the microbiome, recovering the value of the surrounding environment and diversity. So this is an opportunity to challenge students to move to a collective worldview, collective central worldview, including nature as a subject. Also, it could allow us to start a conversation with indigenous communities about life in the process of reimagining science education in the Anthropocene. In the middle of the humanitarian and environmental crisis we all are facing, we need to break the wall of the scientist's cellular-based definition of life and rethink what is life. So, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Any questions for Carol?
Sure, thank you. Really interesting concept. I guess the microbiome is already taught in a lot of schools and that sort of thing, in universities already. It's there. How would you challenge or advance or make a difference around that from what it's done already?
Well, first of all, replacing the cell as the introduction of biology, because that's still in most of the, if not all of the biology textbooks. So replace the cell as the introduction to life and put in the microbiome. So we could really get a more holistic view of what life is based on the interconnectedness and the necessity of other beings there, plurality, diversity. But also, the idea is to not just be biology oriented. We need to also talk about indigenous worldviews, and the proposal is that the microbiome can allow us to have that conversation, but not the cell. So that's also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Quick question from Alex.
Yeah, just a quick question. So, one of the reasons that the cell might be central to biology is the tremendous amount of information that is contained inside the cell in DNA, and the tremendous computations that are happening on RNA and protein levels. So, if you zoom out and I guess teach biology on the microbiome level, so would there be a way to not lose all that tremendous information that is contained inside cells?
Yes, because the microbiome comes from all the new technologies in omics, genomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics. So it still represents the complexity of, or this deeper knowledge that we gain from the new methodologies. But it still also, it's always like localized in the context. It never takes out the context. So we have the microbiome of the kitchen, the microbiome of the bathroom, the microbiome of our hands, of our stomach, but it's always in the context. So not as the cell, that the cell is very uncontextualized.